My dear, lovely and respected brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, we have our respected and more respected Sheikh in the house today to give us a talk on a topic that we've been planning for a long time, defending the Prophet ﷺ, the right and the Islamic way, how we should do it. Sheikh is from America. He was formerly a Christian. He converted to Islam. He studied in the University of Medina. After that, he came to UK, studied for a while, go back to USA. He's been imam of several masajid. Now he's one of the imam in Birmingham, one of the biggest mosques in Birmingham, and he's been leader for a long time. And we chose him for this topic because he knows how to deal with the people and how to give them the pristine and the ideal Islamic personality of the Prophet ﷺ. So without taking much of our time, the Sheikh will be speaking about this in less than an hour, inshallah. There will be room for questions. And I want you to have this at the back of your mind. We have a scenario here at the beginning of this time. Everybody knows what happens at the Freshers Fair when we have somebody who put down a pineapple and wrote Muhammad on the pineapple. And after protesting, he removed Muhammad, he put Jesus on the pineapple. I'm very sure if he protest again, he will remove Jesus and put Judaism, put anything. But we Muslims will react different way. We react differently. But there's a way we should react in a scenario like this. And that being a background, there's other benefit that we can take from this lecture, which I want us to open our hearts and listen to. It's not just about the Prophet ﷺ. It's about our personality as a Muslim, how we should carry ourselves, how we should react to issues that arises. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give our speaker the tawfiq and bless his memory, make it to be able to impact the best knowledge on us, inshallah. Assalamu Alaikum.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah amma ba'd. In reality, when I was given the title of the topic, I thought it was kind of weird because defending the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a hot topic a long time ago. When they had the Draw Muhammad Day, it was a hot topic. But since that time, I thought people moved on. But nonetheless, I think it's an important issue and it's imperative that we as Muslims come to understand some of the rules and regulations, some of the dawabit that need to be comprehended so that we don't make a bigger problem than the actual problem that exists. And that is what happens with Muslims almost all the time. So the very first thing that I want to make clear, and I think everyone knows this already, it's just a reminder, is that Allah Azza wa Jalla doesn't need anyone in this room to defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah Azza wa Jalla is not in need of the Ummah of Al-Islam to defend Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those ayahs of the Quran, like the statement of Allah, "In tansurullah yansurkum wa yuthabbit aqdamakum." If you people help Allah, Allah will help you, and He will establish your feet firmly. That doesn't mean that Allah is in need of your help. Doesn't mean that at all. It means that Allah made it obligatory, made it a responsibility for us to practice our religion and to do the different things that need to be done. And the reward of doing that is that Allah will help you set your affairs aright. When the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was inviting some of the people from the Yahud to become Muslims, and then the Yahud heard about az-zakat, they said things like, Allah is asking us human beings for zakat because He's faqir, He's muhtaj, He's poor, He's in need. Why is He asking us for our money? And they didn't understand that Allah wasn't asking the people for zakat and the money to benefit Allah. The zakat doesn't reach Allah, it reaches His servants and the human beings. So He revealed those ayahs, Antum fuqara'u ila Allah, wallahu ghaniyun 'anil 'alamin. You people are poor. Allah isn't poor, you people are in need. Everybody from Bani Adam, Adam's children, you're in need. So the very first point is, Allah doesn't need us. He said in the Quran to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Inna kafaynaka al-mustahzi'in. We are enough for you concerning those people who ridicule you, Ya Muhammad. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, any and everyone who makes fun of you, your person or your religion, we're going to deal with him. He's going to be dealt with sooner or later. So Allah made it clear, we are enough for you. I'm enough to protect you. Allah Ta'ala told the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Wallahu ya'sumuka minan nas. Allah will divinely protect you. He will make you ma'soom, mahfuz. He will protect you from the people. So the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wanted one time to make a contract with some Yahud. And he went to have the discussion in Al-Medina. And on the way to the discussion, Jibril came to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and told him, don't take another step because they have a plot and a plan. They have a mu'amara on you. On the top of the roof, when you get to the door, they're gonna drop a boulder on your head. Allah knows what's in the hearts of human beings. Allah knows what they want to do, but them completing it is with Allah. So the Nabi didn't go. He turned around. And then he expelled those Yahud from Al-Medina. Why did he expel them? Because they were plotting and planning on killing him without his knowledge, under the guise that they wanted a discussion of peace. And they were going to get him. You were not there. I wasn't there. Nobody was there. Allah protected him. So Allah is not in need of us to help the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we have to understand that. But we have a religious responsibility. If you are a Muslim or a Muslimah, you have a religious responsibility to feel bad, to feel some kind of way. You have to avoid the two extremes. One extreme is the person who wants to defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam by hook or crook, by any means necessary, by halal, by haram, by a tawheed, by a shirk, by the sunnah, by bid'ah. When I became a Muslim in America, there were some people who were telling me when I was a new Muslim, it's permissible for us to go and rob the stores of the non-Muslims and bring the money to the masjid. Because the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the battle of Badr, it happened because one of the reasons Abu Sufyan radiallahu anhu was a non-Muslim at that day. He had the caravan with all of the wealth, a lot of wealth of Quraysh, and the Muslims were going to get it. But Allah Ta'ala decreed that the caravan got away. Quraysh came and they had the battle of Badr. So these brothers, they made dalil, they made proof from that story. The Muslims were going to get the caravan and the wealth of the non-Muslims to help Islam. So when I became a Muslim, they were telling me, along with other young people, we can go and rob the stores and drug dealers and give the money to the masjid. We're helping Islam like that. That's not the religion of Islam. That's not the religion of Islam. There is a Machiavellian concept, a Yehudi concept, Machiavellian concept. It says that the ends justify the means. That is not an Islamic concept. It's not acceptable. The ends do not justify the means in Al-Islam. The end, it has to be sharif, nabil. It has to be good, honorable, noble. And the way you arrive to it has to be honorable and noble. That's important for us to understand. So there's a responsibility on every Muslim, man and woman, to defend al-Islam, to defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the question here is, how? How do we do it? Second point is, if we don't defend him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay in this ummah, and as individuals and families and communities. There's a price to pay. Just as if you don't make salat, if an individual doesn't do something that Allah has made it an obligation upon us to do, if you don't do it, there's a price to pay. And one of the things that we've been made responsible for doing is defending the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's part of Iman. Look what the Nabi said sallallahu alaihi wasallam. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه من الخير. In one riwayah, none of you truly believes until you love for your brother what you love for yourself. We're just regular people, brothers and sisters, regular. Most of you, I don't know your names, brothers, but you're my sister, you're my sister. إنما المؤمنون إخوة. The believers are brothers and sisters, regardless of where they come from. Now, what I want for myself, I should want for you. If I don't, then my iman, something's wrong with my iman. I don't want you backbiting me. I don't want you slandering me. I don't want you stealing my money. I don't want you having su'adhan about me, bad opinion. You don't know me. So if I don't want that from you to me, I shouldn't do it to you. If Muslims practice this hadith alone, family members practice this hadith alone, the vast majority of problems that we have would dissipate. Love for your brother what you love for yourself. I don't want you to harm me, then don't harm me. So I shouldn't harm you. Now the point from that is, you're not a true believer if you don't love for your regular Muslim brother and sister. What about the Imam of all of the Muslims, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? I don't want anyone getting a pineapple and putting a pineapple and saying Abu Usamah. I don't want anyone say, let's draw Abu Usamah's day. And they come with filthy images with me and little girls and all of this nonsense. I would hate something like that. Even if it's not true, I don't want to deal with that. So you don't have true Iman if something doesn't make your heart move, your blood boil and bubble in regards to the Sayyid of Bani Adam. So what's the price? Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the number ayat of the Quran, إِلَّا تَنْصُرُوهُ فَقَدْ نَصَرُهُ اللَّهُ إِذْ أَخْرَجَهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا ثَانِيَ اثْنَيْنِ إِذْ هُمَا فِي الْغَارِ إِذْ قَالَ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. If you people don't help him, verily Allah helped him. When the disbelievers of Quraysh, of Mecca, when they expelled him from Mecca and he escaped, they were looking for him to kill him. Allah helped him. Him and his companion, when they were two in the cave, Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu. And the Nabi said to Abu Bakr was nervous. He said, Ya Rasulullah, all they have to do is look down at their feet and they're going to see us in the cave. The Nabi said, don't worry, don't be afraid. They're not going to see us. I have a long history of da'wah. I have a job to do. And it hasn't been done yet. Nothing's going to happen. They were together. Now the question is, were you there in the cave? Were you there in the cave? I wasn't in the cave. And here today, over 1,443 years later, Islam has over 1 billion people in Islam. Allah helped them that day without the help of anyone here. Even his companions on that day, he was in the cave with Abu Bakr, and they were two against all of the people of Quraysh. The point is, if you don't help them, Allah is going to help them. Allah Ta'ala mentioned, ayat, meaning ayat, man yartadda minkum an dinihi, فسوف يأتي الله بقوم يحبهم ويحبونه أذلة على المؤمنين أعزة على الكافرين يجاهدون في سبيل الله ولا يخافون لومة لائم. If you people apostate from your religion, if you leave the religion, all of it, or any part of this religion, then Allah is going to bring up people to replace you. Those people, they will be merciful towards the believers, as Muslims should be. And they will be tough and strong towards the disbelievers in the proper way, at the proper time, in the proper place. They will fight in the cause of Allah, and they won't be afraid of the censorship of those who censor. So if you don't help, if you don't practice, Allah will replace you with people who are more worthy. That's a price to pay. Many ayat are like that. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَا لَكُمْ إِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ انفِرُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ ثَاقَلْتُمْ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ أَرَضِيتُمْ بِالْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا مِنَ الْآخِرَةِ فَمَا مَتَاعُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا مِنَ الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا قَلِيلٌ إِلَّا تَنْفِرُوا يُعَذِّبْكُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا وَيَسْتَبْدِلْ قَوْمًا غَيْرَكُمْ وَلَا يَضُرُّهُ شَيْئًا. Ayat, ayat. What's wrong with you? Allah said, you who believe. What's wrong with you? When you are encouraged, go out and defend the religion. You stick tenaciously to the earth, the dunya, the money, the car, your life. You don't go. You don't make those sacrifices. Small sacrifices. The ISAC in this university, Reading, like many other universities, they just need the Muslims to come to take advantage the 4 years that we're here. Let's make sure that as many people can hear the message of the pure, pristine Islam. Come on, Muslims, everyone in this place. Put your resources and your intellect together. Let's do something. We don't have to convert the whole university, but let's do a job in terms of everybody who was in this university for 4 years. Teachers, workers, students, everybody. They heard Islam. Everyone, bring your piece of the puzzle to the table. No, we have things to do. This one has to watch TV. That one has to go to the pub. That one over there, he has a date. That one just doesn't want to come. So the ayah said, why is it when you're encouraged to go out, you stick tenaciously to the earth? If you don't go out, Allah will punish you with a grievous punishment, and He'll change you with a different people. So the point is, there are many ayats. Just want to make that second point. First point, Allah doesn't need anybody. He's going to defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Second point, there's a price to pay for every Muslim man and woman who has the ability to do something and they don't do it. Third thing that we want to mention and bring to your attention based on the Quran and the Sunnah is that the most honorable people in Islam, the most honorable people known to mankind, they were ready to defend Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Human beings. Allah mentioned in the Quran in Surah Ali Imran, وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِيثَاقَ النَّبِيِّينَ لَمَا آتَيْتُكُم مِّن كِتَابٍ وَحِكْمَةٍ ثُمَّ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مُصَدِّقٌ لِمَا مَعَكُمْ لَتُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ وَلَتَنصُرُنَّهُ قَالَ أَأَقْرَرْتُمْ وَأَخَذْتُمْ عَلَى ذَلِكُمْ إِصْرِي قَالُوا أَقْرَرْنَا قَالَ فَاشْهَدُوا وَأَنَا مَعَكُمْ مِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ. Pay attention to this ayat as part of our aqidah. And remember when Allah took a contract, a covenant. He took a covenant with all of the prophets and the messengers. From the time of Adam all the way to Isa. Every single prophet, Allah took a contract with him. And that contract was, after I have given you the book, and I gave you hikmah, your sunnah, I gave you your way of being with the people. Once you're there, and you're with your people, and your community, your nation, if there comes to you the Rasul, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while you're there, Musa, Isa, Ibrahim, Ishaq, Yaqub, while you're giving dawah, you're living with your people, if Muhammad comes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to believe in him, and you have to help him. While you're a Nabi, once he comes, you have to take the back seat. Every prophet, every Rasul, he was sent to his people, he was giving them dawah, teaching them, educating them. But he was waiting. He was waiting. If Prophet Muhammad came right now, he's going to take the back seat. And he's going to believe in him and help him. Allah said, do you prophets, do you take this contract as binding upon you? They all said, yes, we do. Allah said, bear witness. And I'm from those who are bearing witness. So the point is, in our religion, we don't write after we become upset, we find out that a Jewish person brought the pineapple and put Muhammad. We don't come and put a bigger pineapple and say Musa, Moses. Because this ayah goes to show the Anbiya, the prophets and the messengers, to Muslims, they're the highest people. And in this ayah it shows each and every one of them were willing and waiting to defend Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was a problem between Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and two of his wives, Hafsa and Aisha. Jealousy. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam went into the house of our mother Zainab bintu Jahsh radiyallahu anha. And the two of them became jealous as women become jealous. They're not perfect. May Allah put them in Jannah. They are in Jannah. May Allah put us in Jannah with them. Our mothers, Aisha and Hafsa, they said between themselves, hey, he's over there, he's in her house. Oh, let's tell him when he comes out that his breath stinks. Because they were upset. When he came out, they said, oh, Ya Rasulullah, what did you eat in our house? We smell something from your breath. He said, I ate some honey, a special type of honey. And he said, Wallahi, I won't eat it again. And then the surah of the Quran, At-Tahrim, was revealed. Because the Prophet made on himself haram, honey. But Allah exposed them for what they did. And in Surah At-Tahrim, Allah mentioned to the two of them, إن تتوبا إلى الله فقد صغت قلوبكما وإن تظاهر عليه فإن الله هو مولاه وجبريل والصالح المؤمنين والملائكة بعد ذلك ظهير. Aisha and Hafsa, if you make tawbah for what you did, this game that you did, if you make tawbah, your hearts will be pure. But if you continue to be like this with him, making these problems for him, then you need to know that Allah is his protector. Jibreel is his protector. All of the religious people, every believer is his protector. But the ayah goes to show the malaika, they're going to protect the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jibreel came to him when they were going to drop the rock on him and told him, don't go. So the honorable people from Allah's creation, the prophets, the messengers, salawatullah wa salamu alayhim ajma'een, the malaika, they're ready and they're willing to defend him. And the salihul mu'mineen, the religious righteous people, from the Muslims, the human beings. So we have to be ready to defend the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. Now that's what I want to talk about here today. And I'm telling you, I need you to really focus on what I'm saying. It's wajib. It's from the ojib and wajibat for us to defend the Nabi, his honor. If you say Aisha radiallahu anha, some people who say that they're Muslims, some people, they believe that Aisha committed zina. They believe she was a zaniya. And just recently they had a big party. Hey, my mother is a non-Muslim. If anybody in this room said that my mother is a zaniya, and when my father leaves the house, my mother's committing zina, I'm going to have a serious problem with you. And my mother's a non-Muslim. If she died today, la samahallah, Allah asked Allah to guide my mother to Islam. If my mother died today on kufr, she's going to be in the nar of Jahannam. I ask Allah not to allow that. Aisha is in Jannah, Jannat al-Firdaus, close to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, if you came and you told me my daughter Arwa, my daughter Hafsa, you said they commit zina, wallahi, you have disrespected me, her father. You disrespected me first. So when you say that the Nabi, his wife committed zina, Aisha, these people say when the Nabi would leave through the front door, Aisha would lock the door and she would go to the back door and there were a line of Yahud. One at a time would come and make zina and she wouldn't make ghusl. Now the point here is, if you say that about the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife, you are attacking him. You're attacking him. Before his wife, you're attacking him, the man himself. You know, you all heard of the honor killings that I don't agree with. But that honor killing thing, the father is saying, he's in Peshawar or somewhere, he's saying, hey, you girl, don't go with boyfriends, and this is disrespect. And that's true. You're putting your uncles down, your father down, everybody. What about the Nabi's wife? So I have to be willing to defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this issue. Draw Muhammad Day, that's small. Because we know that's just kalam. As for this, the Nabi married a lady who would do something like that. So defending the Nabi, I believe there's a level of hypocrisy with the Muslims. We get up and down, we get agitated about the pineapple, Joe Muhammad Day, and over here, we have family members who say this, who believe this. We're easy with people who say this. And wallahi, I don't want to be Yawm al-Qiyam in the shoes of the person who said that about Aisha, who Allah freed her from above the heavens. So defending the Nabi, it is something that is comprehensive. It's not just about pineapples, and it's about his person. It's about his sunnah. A person comes and says, I had a sunnah, a hadith. It's just you don't have respect for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what are some of the rules and regulations? And they are many. We'll try to deal with as many as we can today, inshallah. I think we can get through 6 or 7, maybe 8. But each one deserves some elucidation and explanation. The very first one in defending the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is you have to defend him salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi in accordance to your ability, al-istita'a wal-qudra. In accordance to your ability. You can't defend him if you don't have the ability. The little child who doesn't have intellect can't defend him. The old man who lost his senile, he can't defend him, and he's not responsible. Everybody is not the same. In our religion, the ibadat in al-Islam, the worship, salat, zakat, saum, hajj, everything is predicated upon your ability. If you can pray standing up the regular way, do so. If you only can pray sitting down, do so. If you can pray lying down only, do so. The lady has 1 billion pounds in her account. She's a billionaire. She doesn't have to make hajj if she doesn't have a mahram. Hajj is not wajib upon her because all of the conditions are not present. So we have a lot of ayat of the Quran. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah doesn't burden a person beyond his ability and his scope. Fattaqullaha mastata'tum. Fear Allah to the best of your ability. So this brother here, he has the ability to defend the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam by writing an article. This lady over here has the ability to take her money out and to do something with that money. That one over there has the ability as the imam to give a khutbah about the issue. And that one over there has the ability to do this and on and on and on. So if you don't have the ability, you don't have to do it. If you can't fast, you don't have to fast. It's simple, it's easy. Sometimes the Muslim doesn't have the ability and he wants to do something. And that's not our religion. It's not our religion. Look what happened in Mecca when the Muslims were weak. They were weak and they didn't have the ability. A lot of things were going on in Mecca. One time the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was praying at the Kaaba. Abu Lahab was over there drinking, getting high, getting drunk with his friends. Recently to that, prior to that, someone slaughtered an animal. Abu Lahab said, hey, to his friends, someone take the insides of the camel and the defecation, akramakumullah. Take it and put it on the shoulder of Muhammad while he's praying. So they went and they did it. He was in sajda. They came and put the intestines and the defecation on his shoulder. His companions were sitting there. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, I wish on that day I had the ability to at least take it off. But I didn't. I didn't have that ability. And all of the companions were sitting there just watching. They didn't do anything. Not because they were afraid, but that's how the Prophet taught them. We're in Mecca. Take it easy. If you get up and you do something, they're going to kill you, and take all our women and take our money, and our religion is finished. Don't do anything now. You know who did something? Fatima, his daughter. She was a little girl. She came out. She started wiping it off. She was the one who defended him. She wiped it off. And she looked at Abu Lahab and those people and she said, أَتَقْتُلُونَ رَجُلًا أَنْ يَقُولْ رَبِّيَ اللَّهِ. Do you fight a man? Do you kill a man? Do you give him these problems simply because he said, my Lord is Allah? She was the only one who defended him with a kalima, with a word. Today, with the shabab, the Muslims today, if the Muslim heard this hadith, they'll say, oh, those companions were cowards. Wallahi, if I was there, I would have got... La, ya akhi. You're the one who doesn't understand. Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, those people understood. They were being trained like that. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, Abu Bakr. There was a kafir from Quraysh. His name was Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt. He came, he took the Nabi and he squeezed his neck and he was choking him. The Nabi became red. Abu Bakr came and grabbed him and he took his hands off. And he said the same thing. Do you kill a man just because he said, Rabbi Allah? He's not stealing your money. He's not a bad person. You know him. You're doing this. Abu Bakr didn't kill the man. But he had more ability on that day and in that circumstance than Abdullah ibn Mas'ud and those companions. So he did what he was able to do. The Nabi, when he was making sajda, praying at the Kaaba, inside of the Kaaba, inside, there were idols. They drew pictures of Ibrahim doing istizlam. When he wants to make a decision, he says, which one of the arrows is the longest? That's what's going to determine what I do. Shirk. They drew Ibrahim doing that. And the Nabi was praying towards the Kaaba when it had idols, because he didn't have the ability to get rid of the idols. So it's all about your ability. Your ability will determine what you can do and what you can't do. What you can do and what you can't do. So that's the first thing that has to be considered. What's your ability? What is the reality of our ability? Does Allah want us, when something happens, to go to the American embassy and to storm the embassy and to burn it down and to burn the flag down? Recently, the problem that happened, I'll never forget this image as long as I live. In Pakistan, they were protesting about the thing that had happened. You know that movie, that recent movie. You know the movie. They were protesting. They burnt the American flag. One of the brothers from Pakistan, he had a knife. He was stabbing the flag. And his arm caught on fire. And he got some serious burns on his arm. Is that what Allah wants from him? Who are you hurting with that knife and stabbing the flag? That's not what Allah wants. He doesn't want that. Draw Muhammad Day. There were nuns who were in Turkey. Someone killed a nun in Sudan. Someone killed a priest. Someone killed someone from the Red Cross. Now Muslims going to the Muslim world to volunteer their services to the Muslims. When the thing happened, Muslims killed them. No, you have to change. You have to defend him based upon your ability. And always remember that. Number two, from the rules and regulations in defending the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is, you have to have knowledge, man. You gotta have knowledge. Doesn't mean you have to be a scholar. You have to give the khutbah. You have to be hafid of the Quran. Doesn't mean that. Everybody here, throughout the course of your life, you're going to be confronted with situations where you're going to have to know how to weigh the pros and the cons. The more knowledge you have about your deen, the better the outcome is going to be, inshallah. The less knowledge you have about your deen and what Allah wants you to do in that case and what He doesn't want you to do, the more confusion you're going to have. And that principle also is applicable in your dunya as well. I have a professor. He clearly doesn't like me. He has it in for me. I have to have knowledge of how to navigate and deal with this guy. I can't do anything. I have to be on my P's and Q's. But in regards to defending the Nabi, knowledge. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِ الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Are they equal, those who know and those who don't know? لَا يَسْتَوِيَانِ مَثَلًا. They're not equal, wallahi. مَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. If Allah wants good for someone, He gives them comprehension of his religion. He's not a person who always has to call the Malvi Sahib, the Imam. He himself has the tools and the utensils to figure things out, or a large portion of what he or she needs to know. Don't be of those people, I'm a Muslim, and I'm going to leave myself like this, and I'm not going to learn as much as I can learn. And you know, this university is an institution of higher learning. You people are intellectuals. Not like some of our grandmothers and grandfathers who were ummiyun. They couldn't read and write. So they just had to blindly follow the Malvi Sahib. Blind. Hey, Malvi Sahib, I have magic, I think. I have magic. I want you to take the magic off of me. The Malvi Sahib says, okay. Listen, I'll take it off. What you have to do, you have to go and get 6 kangaroo heads. The heads of 6 kangaroos. And you have to also bring 6 pregnant rats. Bring their tails. And you have to dig a hole 6 feet, put the heads and the tails in the right-hand corner of it, and then cover it up. You say, Malvi Sahib, where I'm going to get the kangaroo heads and the tails of the rats? Where I'm going to get that from? He said, don't worry about it. Just give me 500 pounds. I'll get them for you. And the person says, here you go. He said, here you go. We have that situation. We have that situation where a person has sincerity and they're trying to solve their problem and they get taken advantage of because they don't have knowledge of the basics of the religion. Hocus pocus, crystal ball Islam. So with knowledge, a person knows how to deal with the situation. Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, and a lot can be said about this. He said, وَإِذَا جَاءَهُمْ أَمْرٌ مِّنَ الْأَمْنِ أَوَ الْخَوْفِ أَذَاعُوا بِهِ وَلَوْ إِلَى الرَّسُولِ وَإِلَى أُولِي الْأَمْرِ مِنْهُمْ لَعَلِمَهُ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَنبِطُونَهُ مِنْهُمْ وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ لَاتَّبَعْتُمُ الشَّيْطَانَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Allah said in this ayah about the munafiqeen, the hypocrites. This is one of the many characteristics of the hypocrites. Don't be like this. Don't let this ayah just go in your ear and go out. Because this is common. We watch Jazeera TV in Birmingham. We have a lot of Muslim restaurants. And the big screen of Jazeera. Muslims are in there drinking tea, giving opinions about issues, and they have no knowledge. Just opinion. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. But your opinion is not informed. Your opinion is not based upon proofs. Your opinion is just that. It's just your desire, your opinion. And your opinion and my opinion doesn't mean anything if you're not the right person for the job. Allah said in this ayat about the hypocrites, if some issue comes to them, some news comes to them about an issue touching public safety or public fear, the munafiqeen, they talk about it. They just talk about it. What's your opinion? My opinion. What's your opinion? And they just spread the news. Spread the news. Creating more fitna. The people said that Aisha, she was left in the desert. And I don't mean that the orange is Aisha, guys. I just do that sometimes. I forget. I don't want to be disrespectful. I do that because the things are in front of me. Aisha was left in the desert. The companions, Rasulullah, they didn't know. She went to answer the call of nature. And they thought she was in the holdage, in the thing. They picked it up thinking she was in it and they left. And she was in the desert by herself. Sisters, she didn't freak out and spaz out, start running in circles. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then the scorpion get her, the snake get her. She started wandering aimlessly in the desert. She just sat right there and she said, they're going to come back. Someone's going to come back. She did not spaz out. I always tell my wife this story. Don't spaz out when things happen. If I don't come home, don't think they put me in Guantanamo Bay. I'm just eating in the restaurant. That's all. And that's why I'm paranoid like that when I have to answer the phone. Spaz out. The Prophet used to make what's known al-ittikhad bil-asbab. He used to tie his camel. He used to take precautions. His sunnah was, there was always a man coming behind to pick up anything that was lost from the army, from the group. When the man came, he saw Aisha. You know what he said when he saw her? He said, all I said to her was, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. If a Muslim is afflicted with a musibah, that's what we say. Someone dies, he got his arm chopped off, bad news, he failed the exam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. That's what the companion said. This is a musibah. The wife of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his most beloved wife, left in the middle of the desert. He took her and he said, that's all I said. I made the camel come down. I got off, she got on, and we walked to Medina. In broad daylight, just me and her. The hypocrites started saying, they're having a relationship. They're doing this. And then they would go, did you hear what happened? And they said, you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? Did you hear what happened? Don't you know you're talking about the wife of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Don't you know you're talking about the, after the prophets, the best human being in the world ever, Abu Bakr? Don't you know you're talking about the mother of the believers? An-Nabiyyu awla bil mu'minina min anfusihim wa azwaju ummahatuhum. She's our mom. Don't you know what you're saying? So the hypocrites, when news comes touching public safety or fear, they just talk about it. Allah said, if they would have just referred it back to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and those who have been endowed with knowledge, then they would have put the best construction on it. And if it wasn't for the rahmah of Allah upon you people, if it wasn't for that rahmah, most of you would have followed shaitan, except a few. People, don't listen to the voice of the majority. Most of the people are astray, even Muslims. And that's not to put people down. Our religion is a religion that is from Allah. وَتَمَّتْ كَلِمَةُ رَبِّكَ صِدْقًا وَعَدْلًا. This religion came from Allah, and it has rules and regulations. And a lot of people don't know about the basic rules and regulations. As a result of that, we make statements and opinions, and we do things that if you follow the majority, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble. So the point is, enough can't be said about knowledge. Number three. Justice, guys. We have to defend Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam with justice, al-adl. Justice. The Nabi, he told the people sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ثَلَاثَ مِنَ الْمُنْجِيَاتِ. 3 things will save you. The very first thing he said, al-adlu fi al-rida wal-ghadab. One of the things that will save you is being fair and just when you're happy, when you're pleased, and when you are angry. You have to be just. Allah mentioned in the Quran, لا ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Don't let a people who oppressed you, don't allow their oppression towards you to make you become oppressive. The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَدِّ الْأَمَانَ لِمَنِ ائْتَمَنَكَ وَلَا تَخُنْ مَنْ خَانَكَ. Someone gave you an amana, a trust. He gave you the trust. Give it right back to him when it's time to give it. Someone gave you a trust and he was untrustworthy towards you. He broke your trust towards him. Allah said, don't do that to him. Here you go, little sister. Hey, in Mecca, hey guys, look what happened. And sisters, don't be offended when I say guys. It's just, you know, even my daughters, I call them guys with the whole, when they with their brothers. Listen. Rasulullah was in Mecca, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and although the kuffar, Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl, they didn't believe his message, but you know, they all gave the Nabi their money and their trust, all of their wealth. He was, I won't call it the bank, I would be laughing the bank, but he was their khazin, he was their safe, because they knew he was Muhammad al-Amin. They gave him all of their money and they were kuffar, and they were hostile towards his religion and his companions, and yet they left their money with him, which is a proof that they had contradictions, tanaqadat. They were rejecting his message for hawa. Why would you give him this? You know he's Amin anyway. When it was time to make hijrah, when it was time to leave, he had all of their wealth. He could have justified, he could have said, hey, Abu Bakr, Uthman, Ali, Abdurrahman ibn Auf, Abu Huraira, hey you guys, you people from Mecca, you Muhajirin, you know what I'm going to do? These people made us leave Mecca. And we left our homes and our property. They killed some of us. They persecuted us like they did to Bilal. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to justify taking all their wealth. And we need this wealth. It's for Allah. We're going to take all of this with us to Al-Madinah. But he didn't do that. He said, listen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Ali, I'm going to leave with Abu Bakr. And I'm going to leave you behind. This belongs to so-and-so, and this belongs to so-and-so, and this belongs to this. Give everybody their thing back. And he left. Now just imagine if he would have taken that. The people are going to say, Muhammad is a thief. Muhammad is a thief. Just like the Muslims say to us. You know my mother? One of the reasons my mother doesn't accept Islam is what she sees from the Muslims. She saw the Muslims the other day on the 10th of Muharram. She saw them hitting themselves on the head, making blood come out. And she saw them doing this on their back. She said to me, every year, you tell me this is not from your religion, but you do it all the time. And when I first became a Muslim, she came to me, sat me down. She said, honey, I saw something that horrified me. Something that your people are doing. And I was a new Muslim. I didn't know what to tell her because I myself never saw that. And then I came to know, no, they're not representing what the Quran is saying. They're not representing what the Prophet told them. The Prophet told the people, "La tu'addilu anfusakum." Allah said, "La taqtulu anfusakum. And Allah kana bikum rahima." What are you doing? What do you think the non-Muslims are going to say if Muslims get in the airplane and they blow the airplane out of the sky? My mother. If you go to my house in New York right now, my mother's house, she has halal meat in the freezer for any of my Muslim friends who come to visit her, if they want to eat. My wife wears niqab. My mother's house is visited by many relatives and people, friends, neighbors, always in and out. When my wife is there, my mother comes in and she locks that door. And she says to my wife, hey, so-and-so is coming. She has nothing to do with Palestine and what's going on in Palestine, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kashmir. She has nothing to do with that. And it's oppression what they're doing to our brothers. Oppression. Wallahi, foreign policies that are oppressive and not fair. They're not just. No doubt about that. But what does my mother have to do with that? That you blew her up in the plane or the bus or the underground? You have to be fair and just. Part of the contradiction of the Muslims today, pay attention to this, okay? Everybody here, all of the prophets and the messengers are up there with us. All of them. لا نفرق بين أحد من رسل. We don't make any distinction between them. We like this one and we don't like that one. They're on different levels. Rasulullah is the Sayyid of Bani Adam. There are 5 major prophets and messengers. فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولَى الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. There are 5 majors. Noah, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, Muhammad. They're higher than all of the other prophets. So there are different degrees, but in terms of love and hate, we love all of them. So when we watch and we see a picture of Jesus, why don't we get upset and go burn the embassy? Why don't we burn flags? When we see images of Musa and the pictures of Musa and Jesus, white people, Caucasian, blue eyes, and blonde hair, it's not consistent with how they really looked based on what the prophet said. So he described them to us. They were not that color. But the point is, they're drawing images of them, and the image is not consistent with what Islam said they look like, from where they came from. The Nabi told us that. He saw them. But we don't get upset. There's a contradiction. All of the prophets, we should have ghairah, we should be like this, we should be upset when we see these things. And even with them, the question is, how do we deal with it? So, we have to be fair, we have to be just. The last 2, very quickly, in the last 5 minutes that I have, inshallah. In defending the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, we have to have sabr, guys. You have to have sabr. If we're reading this Quran, you know there will always be a battle between the truth and falsehood, good and bad, believers and disbelievers. And Allah said about this, listen to this, He said in the Quran, وَلَتَسْمَعُنَّ مِنَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ وَمِنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَمِنَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا أَذًى كَثِيرًا إِن تَصْبِرُوا وَتَتَّقُوا فَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ مِنْ عَزْمِ الْأُمُورِ. Listen to what Allah said in the Quran. It's definitely over now that the peace arrived. But nobody going to pay attention once the peace arrives. Definitely over now. Alright, Shaykh, I know. Al-Labib bil-Ishara yafhamu. Khalas. Hadara the peace. Allah said, if you people, He said, Allah said in the Quran, verily, you're going to continuously hear from those who were given the book before you and from the polytheists. You're going to consistently hear that which annoys you and bothers you. So if you just have sabr and you have taqwa, that's from the high determination. Every year, Rasulullah's pedophile, because he married Aisha at the age of 9 and consummated at the age of 11. I have a little daughter, my little baby, and I'm sure I speak for all of you when I say this. If I go back to Birmingham and I make it there, okay, my little baby girl, Sudesa, my little princess. She is 6 or 7, something like that. I go there, and lo and behold, Isa ibn Maryam comes out of my house. He was in my house with no wali. He's not a mahram for my women. He comes out of my house. I see him the way the Nabi described him. You're going to know that's Isa. He comes out of my house and he says to me, Abu Usamah, I have conducted a nikah between me and Sudesa. I'll say, Allahu Akbar. And I make sajda. Because that's Isa ibn Maryam. You girls are going to get married one day, inshallah. And only Allah knows how your husband is going to be. But if your husband was Isa ibn Maryam, you're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam married your daughter, 9, 11, 15, 25, she's going to be okay. So we're going to always hear this stuff about him from these people. The Muslims are very immature politically, socially, economically, intellectually. In that movie, I don't know if you guys know, but the movie, they they superimposed dialogue on the movie. The movie was about something else. But then the people came later with a different dialogue. And that's why the actors in the movie, they were upset. And they were suing the guy who made the movie. Because they said, we didn't know this is what you were going to do. But those people know. Muslims are immature. We have to be more mature and intelligent. So we have to have sabr. Fasbir. Sabran jamila. Not just sabr, where you sit down and twiddle your fingers like this, and when something happens, you're indifferent. Sabran jamila. Have sabr, but while having sabr, still do what's necessary to get the job done by bringing out the most good of the situation and eliminating and reducing the evil. Lastly, in my last 2 minutes, inshallah, in defending Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and guys, we have to have rahmah against those people, with those people. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah said, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. He was sent as a rahmah, wallahi. They said he was bloodthirsty, he was barbaric. If you take the examples that he showed us with his enemies, there's a consistent pattern of him being easy with them. When you're rough and tough, in this country, when I first came here 5 years ago or so, some people used to talk in the universities especially. Radical, extreme Muslims. And I'm not an apologetic person. I say just avoid both extremes. Avoid the rough, tough people, and avoid the apologists. Man in the University of Oxford, institution of higher learning, prestigious university. Every time on those programs in the Sunday morning, what's that hard question, big question? He's always coming on there, apologizing, bragging about I married 50 Muslim women to non-Muslim men already. The niqab and the hijab is not from Islam. It's from the Taliban. It's from the culture of the Arabs. Every time they want someone to apologize, they bring him. And if it wasn't for Islam says have rahmah, you would say he's a non-Muslim. But I'm not going to say that. But it's the two extremes. Everything. Jihad, jihad, jihad. Yeah, take it easy. He's a kafir, kill him. Hey, take it easy. And then this one, nah, Prophet Muhammad really didn't marry Aisha. Hey, listen, non-Muslims. In Bukhari, it said he married her at the age of 9 and he consummated at the age of 11. Nah. What really happened was he married her at the age of 19 and he consummated at 21. But the 1 and the 2 fell off the page. So it came out at 9 and 11. Don't apologize, Yaki. This is not my religion, your religion. I didn't reveal this book. It's not me. It's not you. Whoever likes it, alhamdulillah, you don't like it, but don't try to change. And who's ever responsible for the ISAC, you responsible brothers, don't be of those people and don't be of those people. Just be in the middle. Be balanced. We have to coexist. That's our religion. The Nabi coexisted in Mecca, he coexisted in Medina. I told you he expelled the Jews out of Medina. When did he expel them? They were going to drop a rock on his head. When we were coming here, me and my brother, Abu Hanifa, we parked our car way over there. And we started asking, where is the White Knights building? I was afraid of that name, White Knights. Because in America, the Ku Klux Klan, they're called the White Knights. I said, what am I going to find in this place? We were asking some different people. Black girl looked like she was from Nigeria. She said, go down these stairs. And then a white guy came. He was a short white guy. They said, where's this building? He said, you go over there, this is with a Muslim. And then he said, okay, I'll take you there. As we started walking, Abu Hanifa said, hey, where you from? He said, I'm a Jew. We were shocked. Because he could see the Muslims, and he knew what the Muslims were. So we started accommodating him, coexisting. Take my knife, I didn't cut him like that. He walked quite a distance in the cold, on the grass. And he said, when we were leaving, we tried to give him a little down. You a Muslim? You a Muslim? He said, no. Then he said to us, Assalamu Alaikum. We said to him, Wa Alaikum. Wa Alaikum. Because he was nice, are we going to bend the rules? We say Wa Alaikum to non-Muslims. So anyway, not all of those people are the same. The ones who are doing what's being done in Gaza, policymakers over there, Netanyahu, he's not like that, kid. We have to have rahmah. Allah mentioned to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you were rough and tough with the people, Ya Muhammad, the natural process, they would have dispersed from amongst you. People are not trying to, okay, I don't wear hijab. Don't come and get on me in front of people like that. You don't wear hijab, and he's looking at porn. Everybody here is doing something. Nobody here is in a position to judge anyone else. And I'm talking about judging when you put your nose up at people. Everybody here is doing something. Everybody, without exception. Major sins, minor sins. We ask Allah to forgive all of us for our indiscretions and our mistakes. So you can't come at people rough and tough. The Nabi wasn't like that. That doesn't mean not wearing hijab is okay and looking at porn is okay. Not, the point I'm making is, don't be judgmental and don't be rough and don't be tough. The Nabi was sitting with Aisha. Some Jews came by and they said, Assalamu Alaikum, Ya Muhammad. May poison be unto you. May you die. They didn't say Assalamu, they said Assamu, poison, death. May you die. Allah mentioned in the Quran, يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَنْ مَوَاضِعِهِ. They changed the words from their proper place. So they said, poison unto you. Aisha heard what they said. She said, and to you be poisoned, and the curse of Allah, descendants of Jews and monkeys. She was upset. The Nabi said, Ya Aisha, Aisha, ruwaydan, ruwaydan. Take it easy. He said, Inna Allah yuhibbu rifqa fil amri kullihi. Allah loves that you are gentle and easy in all of the affairs. She was defending him, her husband, the Nabi, Islam. She was defending. But he didn't allow her to defend him that way. Say anything, do anything. So now I'm going to stop because in our religion, if the fool comes religiously, listen guys, if the fool comes and it's salat time, like Maghrib, the window of opportunity is short. If the fool comes, you can sit down and eat the food and take your time. That's what the companions did with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said, don't pray. If the food is there or if you have to go to the toilet. Akramakumullah. If a person has gas, he has to go to the bathroom, you're going to be thinking about that, praying, just thinking about that. He wants you to pray in your focus. So that's with Allah, salah. So what about Kalam Abu Usamah? So the piece is here. We're going to stop now, inshallah ta'ala. Let's defend the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the way that is best and most appropriate. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. I'm asking you guys, your brothers and sisters, do me a favor. My mother's not a Muslim. She's not a Muslim. And perchance you guys may make dua. Some of you religious sisters and you brothers, don't forget to ask Allah to guide my mother to Al-Islam, to the Tawheed, and to the Sunnah. Do that for me, please. That's all I ask for you. Okay? That's the price of the lecture. You guys make that dua for me.